Hello, I'm Maureen Patterson and I'm the co-host at the ICM Photo Academy. And today I am delighted to be talking to my co-host, Kaisa Sirén. Thanks a lot for coming along for this conversation today, Kaisa. We'll be diving in with some light-hearted questions and then a few more in-depth ones so folks can learn a little bit more about you. So first of all, do you want to tell us who you are, who is Kaisa Sirén, and where do you live?
Thank you very much, Morag. I'll be happy to go through the small details in the beginning. I am a professional photographer living in the northern part of Finland. The area is called Lapland, and I live right at the Arctic Circle. And I work here both as a photojournalist and as an artist. I have an education in photography from Canada from a long time ago. I studied photojournalism, so I can do a sharp picture if needed. I have done a lot of teaching and coaching also in photography, and this kind of mentoring has been really interesting. In my previous career, I did a career in travel industry, and I also did 5 years of consultations for travel companies. So it has been really nice to sort of mirror how that mentoring in the artist world speak to one another. So that has been very good. Above all of those things, I also run a gallery called Villa Vinkeli in my hometown, and that has led me to expand my artistic career also into painting, which I enjoy very much. So I don't only do ICM photography, intentional camera movement, but also other types of art. And intentional camera movement, of course, means that you move your camera while you do the exposure.
Mm-hmm. And tell me a little bit more about, ICM and the history of ICM, because you've been doing it for over 20 years, right? But intentional camera movement, as we know it, wasn't always a big thing in photography. It wasn't universally accepted in the early days. So do you want to just tell us a little bit about how your journey evolved there and how you started?
Yes. So actually, already during the 50s, German photographer Ernst Haas started experimenting, doing some ICM photographs from bullfights in Spain. Of course, that word and name didn't exist at the time. And he was looked at. He got long looks for his pictures, but they are actually very, very good. Um, I started about 25 or so years ago, and I was traveling in Iceland, and I started experimenting, taking pictures out of the bus window as we traveled around, and experimenting with shorter and longer exposure times. And I really liked the images when I came back home and started to work more at the technique. But of course, it was very unknown at the time, but it was always kind of overlooked. I heard a lot of comments like, okay, that's something you can experiment, but of course you won't stick with this kind of technique. But the feeling was very different than it is today when we have ICM photographs everywhere. Everyone wants to experiment, and you see them in magazines and you see them in exhibitions, and there are competitions for ICM today. And in competitions, there are own categories for ICM even. So it has become very popular. And the feeling is, I think it's nice that it's much more accepted now, and it's been accepted as a form of art. But only about, I think, 6 or 7 years ago, when I applied to join the Artist Association of Lapland, which is a professional artist association. They had a long discussion there whether they could accept me or not because I do something which they don't know if it's art or not. But
Oh,
luckily, times are changing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I can relate to that from our own experience as well of, having ICM exhibitions sort of almost 20 years ago. And there was certainly a few raised eyebrows and a lot of
Yeah,
conversation about, is it some kind of joke really? Is it poking fun at proper photography? So
yes,
I think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful that it's accepted and that just in general in photography, people are there's a lot more freedom to express yourself without being judged, I think, in photography these days than there
absolutely.
was a while ago.
Yeah, and
Anyway,
that's
let's get
liberating, really.
yeah, it's very, very liberating and it's got to be a good thing all round for the genre, I would say. But let's get back to you, Kaisa. Um, so I want to ask you a question about if you had a completely free day tomorrow, where would we find you?
Antarctica.
Antarctica. Wow. Assuming you got a day to get there as well,
If
right?
I could teleport it, if I
Yeah,
could be teleported there, absolutely. But
yeah.
if I couldn't go that far, um, definitely my home forest, which is right, hop, skip, and a jump from my home, a big forest area where I go on a daily basis anyway. But that's my go-to place, whether I go to do photography or just get the inspiration and exercise for that matter.
hmm Yeah, yeah, for sure. And so you mentioned Antarctica there if you had more than a day to have a free day. What keeps drawing you? I think you've been more than once anyway. What is that right? What
Yeah.
draws you back there? What makes you want to keep going there?
Well, I have been there 3 times.
Mm.
Um, it is awesome. It is so uncomprehendable that you have to go back. Um, Maybe the very first thing is because it's pristine and there is practically no sign of human presence, that you get so connected to nature. And of course, there are many places in the world which are without any human presence, but I am very drawn to snow and ice. Maybe because I was born in December, I don't know. But ice and snow, that's my go-to place. And then Antarctica is so, in a way, it's so wild and it's so silent. It's moving. It's so beautiful. It's harsh, yes, but of course I haven't been there in the winter, which is the harsh time. It's difficult to explain really, but it moves, it changes you when you go there. And then there's a lot to photograph.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, it would be, we'll get a whole presentation off you one day about Antarctica because I think people would be really interested to see that and to hear how you change, do you change every time you go and do you change differently? So, but
Oh,
we'd spend this whole conversation talking
we
just on
could.
that. I think we'll do a whole presentation on it. So another question I was going to ask you is, what's the last photograph you made that really excited you?
Okay, that's an interesting question. You get these small delights, of course, on a daily basis, and then you might get a picture that you don't realize that it delights you until a little bit later. But at the moment, I'm working on a project called Zero Season, and it has to do with the climate change, like a lot of my thinking and work is at the moment. And what I have done is, in this picture that you see here, I have this big black board, a board which is like 1 meter by 2 meters in size, and I painted it black with very, very shiny paint, glossy paint. And then I take the board outside, and then the outside world gets reflected on the board. and then I take a picture of the reflection. And that's something that I've been working on since about February. And it has been very difficult technically to solve first how the reflection forms and how far and how close to the board you have to be, etc. So there's been a lot of technical issues that I have had, and I have already a couple times thought that it doesn't work. But this picture we are looking at now, this is from the summer, which I did just a few days ago. And I also continued with the technical issues. I thought I had solved them, but I hadn't. And then finally, when I was able to get something of the midnight sun scenery shining and get that reflection on the board and get the feeling of the midnight sun, get the feeling of the night, the summer night. I was really, really delighted, and it gave me encouragement again to continue on. And the whole idea why I'm using the board is that climate change is something that we talk about as coming. It will be here. We all know basically now that it will be here, but hardly any, not enough people actually realize that it is here. It's already here very heavily. And the reflection of the board kind of symbolizes for me this pale line between thinking that it's coming and realizing that it is here already. And it kind of forms a picture of the memory we had, the memory of the seasons we had, and the memory of winter we had. And the picture forming on the board is what climate change is bringing us.
Mm,
Was
yeah.
that, did that make any sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's an incredible photo. And what I want to ask you is because unless you explained to me and the people watching and listening that the picture was on a board, you wouldn't actually know. So I wanted to ask, have you considered doing this where you can see the frame of the board as well, so people
Yes,
know that it's not just a picture that you took out of your window, for example? Yeah.
yes, I have done a lot of those, and they are also
Mm,
really interesting because
yeah.
half of the image, half of the frame is the board, and the other half is the real
Yeah.
scenery, and they look
Yeah.
totally different.
Yeah.
Of course, one is
Yeah.
reflection and one is what you see behind the board.
Direct.
And then, of course, I am doing ICM on top of not only photographing the reflection, but ICM as well. So it really changes the real scenery a lot as well. Yeah, I like them. I think they are really interesting. I will definitely combine those images also in the series.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely fascinating and a great technique for anyone who wants to try it as well, I would think.
I can give a few
Um,
hints if you do try.
well, again, maybe that's a whole nother presentation, isn't it, on how to, yeah. Um, anyway, and you'll, for anyone who's listening or watching, you know where to find us as well. If you want to tap Kaiser's brains about that technique. So I want to talk just a little bit before we finish about hosting the ICM Photo Academy. Obviously,
Mhm.
we host that together.
Yeah,
Has it changed you as an artist at all?
I think it has changed me many ways. Um, Definitely also as an artist, but I hope also as a teacher and mentor, it has changed me. I have been growing um, in that job, in that position. Um, I have a lot more experience doing that than I had when we started a few years ago. But as an artist, it has surprised me in a way how much experience I have. because people ask many things, and I have actually been able to pretty much answer everything they ask. So I realized that I do have a lot of experience. It's something that I haven't possibly appreciated earlier. And that also it has shown me how much creativity a person, I don't mean me only, but how much creativity all people have. It's endless, the amount of creativity. I mean, we have been working, for example, of themes, and people come up with the most wonderful and different kinds of images and pictures and ideas about one single word, for example. And it has also pushed my creativity far beyond many boundaries, and also pushed me out of my comfort zone to create content around these themes and around the courses that we have. So it, of course, that way has brought a lot of self-confidence. And if I do something as an artist, I trust myself and my work much more than, let's say, 5 years ago. So kind of, I have allowed myself to say that what I do, the artwork that I do is, I accept the artwork, what I do. And if others do as well, that's great. If they don't,
Mm.
it's their problem.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, and we talk a lot, don't we, in the academy and the family about self-esteem and art and all the things wrapped up in that, don't we? So,
Yeah.
um, is there anything else that you've kind of learned from the people in the family or people who take the courses that you kind of never expected to learn yourself? You have sort of answered that a little bit, but has there been anything else that's really surprised you?
Well, I think possibly the main surprise is the broadness of creativity, like I said, and also it's been I've surprised myself as well in a
Mm-hmm.
way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of surprised how easily ideas come. And I've learned, this is probably one of the biggest learning, is that the more I do creative things, the more creativity it generates in me, like in anyone who does that. So if I do a little bit every day, it generates more creativity. If I do a lot, it generates even more. And creativity is something that you can never kind of use up,
Mm.
because it multiplies the more you use it, the more you
Yeah,
get. So
yeah.
that is probably one of the big surprises as well.
Yeah, and that's a really beautiful way to look at it as well. It's a cup that can just overflow forever, right? Not yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's important to have times of rest as well from it, isn't there? So you don't put yourself under pressure and then that makes space for the creativity to come back in again and fill up again.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, people may be different in that respect. Maybe some people don't need the break and others do. I tend to be the kind of person that I don't really need the break.
Mm,
And I don't easily go into this lack of creativity or lack of
hmm.
inspiration moods.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
I hardly ever have this feeling that I don't want to pick up my camera.
Yeah. Hmm.
It may be that if I'm really tired physically, then I don't want to take my camera. But even if I go out into the forest for a walk with the dogs without the camera, I kind of keep my
Hmm.
eyes open and pick up few things and inspirations from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I was going to ask as well about, in a world that does feel increasingly kind of busy and distracted, what role does slowness or attention play in your creative life? It kind of rolls on from what we were just talking about.
Slowness should play a bigger role.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But I'm still learning, but I'm teaching myself to work so that either last thing in during my workday or first thing in the morning of my workday, I try to take a little bit of time where I kind of organize my brain. I take a piece of paper and I write down the things that I need to do. Preferably the previous day, so I can kind of forget everything, forget the busyness. I don't have to think in the evening that, oh, what did I forget? I need to do this and that tomorrow. So try to slow down first in the beginning of the day, and then get to work or get to do your art or whatever it is. I don't do meditation so that I would slow down completely, but I kind of call it organizing my brain, organizing my thinking and my work. So that is important. And then I need my morning walk in the nature every morning. That is absolute. I have to get that. So I get my senses, my mind and my body woken up and organized in that way. So
Yeah.
those are really important. If I don't get those, if I have a busy morning, if I sleep in and I have to rush, the day is not as good as otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I think that kind of time outside first thing in the morning is actually it's really important. I think for your biorhythms as well as
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, just having that time to sort of yeah set the tone for your day. It's really nice, isn't
exactly,
it?
exactly.
Yeah.
It sets the
Mm.
tone. Earlier, when I worked in the travel industry, um, my pace was terrible. I had to be at work at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I would wake up at 7:45, and the drive was like 7 minutes. So you can imagine what rush it was
Mm.
from the very beginning. And then
Yeah.
the whole day tends to be that way. And
Yeah.
it's terrible. And I now enjoy so much that I can get up 2 hours earlier and I can sit down and read my newspaper and, take my tea and have my walk. And that's
Yeah.
really, really important.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Right. Well, we've got to wrap up soon. So I've got one question left for you,
Okay.
which is, what would you like people to take away from your work? Finishing
I-
on an easy one.
So did we have another hour or so? Um, First of all, I would like them to take their own interpretation because my work is abstract, at least half abstract. So I would I would be so happy if when they look at the work and they would start to create their own story and they would let their imagination go with the funniest and craziest ideas rather than saying, I don't know what this is all about. I don't understand this. I don't know what this means. I don't know how to read this. So try to forget what my intention was, what my message was, and just write their own story. So that would be fantastic. And then the second thing, I would be so happy if someone looked at my work and said, okay, if she can do that, I can do that.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's a really, really lovely note to end on, Kaisa. A huge thank you for chatting to us today, and thank you to everybody who's watching or listening. If you hit the follow button on the channel, then you'll find out every time we update with another piece of content for you. So thanks, Kaisa. Thanks, everybody. Bye
Thank
for
you.
now.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.